When was the last time you felt alone?
Human beings long to belong. With loneliness comes a loss of confidence and withdrawal. When someone is isolated and disconnected, society is deprived of every single valuable thing that individual has to offer.
Hi, I'm Katie.
I'm Ronan.
I'm Sinead.
I'm Sean, and this is Quiva on Tech.
Social isolation breeds loneliness, an emotional response to a lack of communication and connection with others.
Loneliness affects 400,000 people in Ireland. In 2010, a medical journal review of 160 studies found that the influence of social isolation and loneliness on early mortality is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Today we will introduce to you our two projects, Home Helpings and Understanding Lekela, which aim to tackle the issues of social isolation and loneliness in both the elderly population and autistic communities.
We established our first project, Home Helpings, with the aim of tackling social isolation and loneliness among the elderly population. During our needs assessment, we spoke to representatives from SONUS, an organisation set up to provide much-needed social contact for the elderly in Galway.
I worked for 20-odd years with care of the elderly as in my work as a nurse. So definitely I saw loneliness within the nursing home situation, much broader than I have in the community. And people might not admit they're lonely because they might think that, you know, if you say that to your family, that they might think that they're not visiting often enough. But it wouldn't be that. It's just you can be lonely in yourself in a crowd. If you feel lonely, it will affect your mental health. It will affect every part of your health.
Loneliness has been linked to serious mental health issues and will create a huge strain on Ireland's health system. It is expected that the number of over 65s living in Ireland will rise to 1.4 million by 2046. Therefore, the issue of isolation faced by the elderly population requires action now.
Home Helpings will reinforce the importance of the older generations through the way Home Helpings will reinforce the importance of older generations with the aim of reducing social isolation and loneliness.
The project is centred around a cookbook which is comprised of old Irish recipes. So far, we've collected recipes from 23 nursing homes, from 23 residents from 3 nursing homes in Galway, Dublin and Tipperary. We interacted with the elderly in these nursing homes, learning about the stories and recipes that they have enjoyed over the years.
To further develop our project, we plan to create a podcast series allowing the recipe givers to tell their stories themselves.
Through our needs assessment, we concluded that in order to help the elderly understand what a podcast is, we gave them a 2-hour workshop on the basics of social media and computer skills. We started with Agnes Gilgan, who's an 85-year-old woman. After her lesson, Agnes was able to interact with her friends and family online.
We are collaborating with an American travel agency which specialises in Irish heritage tours to incorporate our cookbook into their packages, allowing American tourists to get a real taste of old Ireland when they return home. Further, Charlie Byrne's bookshop in Galway has expressed strong interest in stocking our cookbook once published.
Home Helpings is a nostalgic cookbook. Home Helpings is a nostalgic cookbook which aims to Home Helpings is a nostalgic cookbook which aims to show how it can reduce isolation and loneliness through involving people in the elderly community.
Do you understand what it means to be autistic? We continue to tackle isolation and loneliness through our second project, Understanding Lekela. Lekela is the Irish for together.
Our fundamental aim is that together we can create a greater understanding of the challenges and opportunities associated with autism spectrum disorder.
Globally, 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Loneliness and isolation are a harsh reality faced by many autistic people, who in fact are 4 times more likely to be lonely. The Understanding Lekela project seeks to change this reality and reduce inequalities.
Our needs assessment led us to Paul, a 20-year-old autistic student studying in NUIG Galway. Paul knows firsthand what it's like to be isolated. When we first met Paul, he was a shy, self-conscious and reserved individual who felt alienated.
This year our project grew, and so too did our team. We met Cullen, a former master's student of NUI Galway. Despite his outstanding academic record, he too faced a similar struggle to Paul.
Cullen's struggle extended beyond school and university. He is among the 80% of autistic individuals in Ireland who are unemployed. Cullen wants to work, but instead, the Irish state pays €1.2 million to financially support one autistic individual throughout their lifetime.
We train autistic individuals like Paul and Cullen with public speaking skills, empowering them with the confidence to educate students. We provide them with employment, which in our eyes is the highest form of empowerment.
Our project began last year, delivering workshops to secondary school students. However, following a SWOT analysis, we realised that our business model was not financially sustainable working with schools alone. We used entrepreneurial action to create a solution that not only generated revenue, but continued to combat the isolation and exclusion faced by the autistic community. We expanded into the corporate world.
A corporate understanding Lekela workshop costs €600 and lasts 1 hour. We cover 4 fundamental pillars in our workshops: understanding autism spectrum disorder, highlighting the challenges faced by autistic people in the workplace, eliminating fear in the workplace, and recognizing the benefits of having an autistic employee.
All of our content is co-created and reviewed by our artistic facilitators, alongside Brian MacDonald, who has worked in disability services for over 29 years, and Dr. Geraldine Leader, who is the Director for the Irish Centre for Autism and Neurodevelopmental Research.
Specialistern, an international recruitment agency who has been facilitating employment for autistic individuals for over a decade, have been working closely alongside us to provide opportunities for our autistic team members.
To ensure our workshops are environmentally sustainable, we use online survey applications instead of paper. We also, for public transport, use public transport, or, if this is not feasible, by carpooling.
In under 8 months, we have empowered 2 people and directly impacted 81 more through our school and corporate workshops in NUI Galway, KPMG Galway and RTE headquarters to achieve our total revenue of €5,710. We are currently in talks with Abbott, Accenture, Bank of Ireland, Ernst & Young and Enterprise Rent-A-Car on scaling workshops in their offices.
Following completion of a workshop, an attendee said that the presentation was interesting, relatable, and relevant to the workplace environment. 100% of participants surveyed post-workshop said they had a greater understanding of autism spectrum disorder and that they felt more comfortable interacting with autistic individuals.
The simplicity of our project makes it effortlessly scalable. We have already established Understanding Lekela headquarters and plan on rolling out more and more workshops over the coming months.
At Enactus NUIG Galway, we focus on empowering autistic individuals and giving them a platform to share their stories. But don't just take it from us, take it from these guys.
Understanding Lekela has revealed the sorts of skills and wonderful qualities that I have.
Even outside looking for work, my confidence, and especially in talking to people, has improved dramatically, and interaction has improved dramatically. You've got a safe haven to retreat to, you're accepted, you're understood, you're treated as an equal on an equal platform.
They have given me the opportunity to turn my lifetime of suffering into something that can make a difference in the lives of other people.
I've learned more in 2 years being involved with Understanding Lekela about autism than all the studies I did, and that's been genuine. It's just a great, respectful project coming from a good place.
I would say it's one of the best projects I've been involved in, and it is because it's a very, very, very important cause, and I do think we're approaching it in the right way, the correct way. I have an intuition that it's going to be fantastic. It really is.
We feel compelled to show society the importance of celebrating and embracing neurodiversity.
We did this with our friends. Friends are a huge part of our lives, who are helping us build positive, mutually beneficial environments founded on inclusion, collaboration, and respect.
We took World Autism Awareness Day as an opportunity to further educate the staff and student population at NUI Galway. We did this in 4 ways.
We delivered a corporate workshop to university staff and a student workshop led by Cullen.
We established a sensory room on NUI Galway campus to demonstrate to non-autistic students what hypersensitivity feels like.
We screened a documentary by an award-winning autistic filmmaker, followed by a Q&A session hosted by Paul.
We lit the iconic quadrangle blue to show the support and encouragement our university has for inclusion.
Our efforts have been recognised by becoming first place at City Pathways to Progress and KBC Pitch Perfect.
Through our public events and workshops, we have recruited more and more autistic students at NUI Galway. Our direct impacts are becoming empowerments.
We are empowering autistic individuals and giving them a platform to share their stories and challenges in a manner which allows them to be heard.
This year, at Enactus NUI Galway, we tackle isolation and loneliness through our 2 projects, which closely align themselves with 4 of the UN Global Sustainable Development Goals.
We celebrated inclusion by channeling minds from a multitude of disciplines in NUI Galway.
We have adopted these 2 projects as extensions of our lives. Our team has dedicated 5,824 team hours.
These projects have established true companionships founded on the mutual desire to promote inclusivity in both the autistic and elderly populations in Ireland.
As human beings, we all have a need to belong. Where we lack belonging, loneliness and isolation takes its place. At Enactus NUI Galway, we started with the problem.
We started at home.
We identified needs and created solutions.
We empowered 3 people and directly impacted 81 more.
We generated €5,710.
We are tackling isolation and loneliness.
We are Enactus NUI Galway.
What is your revenue model for home helpings?
Well, so at the moment, the project is in its developmental stage, obviously. So we've been collecting recipes for the cookbook, and we've at this point in time, we've been doing a lot of market research on where the book could go. So obviously, we've got in contact with local bookstores, Charlie Burns Bookstore, and then abroad with Island Tours. And Island Tours have also got us in contact with the Irish pub and restaurant industry, which they believe they'd be interested in stocking books. So through our market research with them and talking to them, they've recommended a pricing range between 20 and 25 euros. But at this moment in time, as we're collecting recipes, we don't really have an exact cost that I could give you because the project is in its developmental stage. But we're thinking to try and keep costs roughly to around 15 euro and then selling it on.
Hi, could I just ask, under the understanding, Lakayla, you've mentioned a revenue of €5,710, but what's the breakdown of the costs analysis in comparison to that?
Okay, so the revenue is €5,710. Would you like me to break that down, that revenue first, or just the cost? So the revenue is breaking down from, we attained €3,840 from cities placing first in Cities Pathways to Progress programme, then €500 from KBC's Pitch Perfect, and then €1,350 from our 3 corporate workshops in RTE, KPMG, and for university staff, and then also a further €20 for our events on Autism Awareness Day. And then we had expenses of €1,405 for the year. So this included development and purchases of merchandise, advertising, travel expenses to and from workshops, and also purchasing equipment for sensory rooms that we plan. We have the equipment now, so we can host it for next year. So that left us with a profit of €4,305.
And just on Lakayla again, I think a lot of your funding comes from corporate partnerships. How do you plan to extend that and bring more corporates on board?
Well, so the partnerships at the moment, we've obviously the Cities Pathways to Progress programme, but the 3 workshops that we have conducted are of our own accord, RTE headquarters and KPMG and the NUIG staff workshop. And we also have 4 bookings in Ernst & Young, in Bank of Ireland, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, So they're planning to be done over the coming months. We're looking for dates currently in the next month or so. And once we get into the offices, we plan to roll out training to all staff.
So I have a related question. So when you meet these corporates and you're asking them to part with their money, what's the return on investment that they're going to get for that spending?
Well, so the idea is that you're developing an environment that is going to be, striving towards inclusion. As it stands, we say, 1 in 59 people, globally have autism. And the thing is that you think about it for a company that's missing out on valuable skills that these people have to offer. Autistic people have unbelievable abilities, either with hyper-focus, attention to detail, honesty, everything. This is the kind of stuff that businesses want, and they are now realizing it. And being able to, go into a company that we've been in, KPMG and RT, and have them come to us and ask us, is our environment right? Is it correct? Is it okay for people, if we were to employ an autistic person? They realize that they're actually missing out on an awful lot of valuable assets, that autistic people can bring to a company. So that's really the return investment. They see, after our workshops, we use ourselves almost as an icebreaker for the likes of specialists who come in, and we say at the end of our workshops, if you want to take on what we're telling you, contact specialists, recruit autistic people, guarantee you it'll be the best decision you'll ever make.
Hey, by engaging in awareness workshops and training, are you just duplicating what autism charities are doing out there in space anyway? And have you engaged with charities that are operating at the moment to see if you're doing so?
You see, so the difference in our workshops are that all our content is co-created and reviewed by specialists, autists and students. So a lot, especially in the charity kind of area, it's purely autist or purely specialist. However, we're that harmony of everyone. And also, we've realised that charity models, whilst they're great, they do rely on funding that isn't necessarily predictable. You never kind of know how much is coming in. Whereas we merge that with business, so we know that for our hour, we're getting €600 for each hour. So that's kind of our difference. What we do is different, but also the way we do it.
Time is gone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.